Yo, man, what's up, YouTube, man? It's your boy, Mickal, that's aka Mr. That Pearl Born, man. Today, man, we got a new video, how capitalism changed the face of war. If you guys new, man, hit the like button, subscribe, and share, man. Let's go into the video. All right, Shashi, that's my big
Our
go. Let's
starting
go.
place is that point in history where war dramatically changed. Instead of large groups of men fighting with handheld tools, war became much more about fighting with machines, bigger and bigger. This was made possible by the massive amounts of energy that were found stored in coal and oil. Now, warships could be pushed by steam instead of wind, shielded by iron instead of wood. Armies and supplies could be brought to the battlefield on trains, out with the horses and in with the trucks. It's the late 1800s and the fires are burning hotter than ever. Metal is taking the shape of souped-up cannons and guns and ships, tools of war that were never thought possible, now flowing in abundance. Arms makers engineer war scares. They excite governments and peoples to fear their neighbors and rivals so that they can sell more armaments. The simple, relatively inexpensive weapons of earlier ages were displaced by highly scientific death machines. And the cost of these, together with the upkeep of huge armies, brought a rapid increase in national war budgets. So that's when it happened. And overseeing all of this production of industrial weaponry, not governments, but businessmen.
And I say, you know what's crazy is, I want to know like how long it takes him and his crew to make these type of videos. It probably takes maybe months, maybe a month to like these type of videos, because remember he has to like get the like the documents and all that. Like I want to like, yo, Shashi, how long do you think it like takes him and his like crew to like make these type of videos for real?
But the arms merchant doesn't see himself as a villain. According to his lights, he is simply a businessman who sells his wares under prevailing business practices, the uses of which his products are put, and the results of his traffic are apparently no concern of his. No more than they are, for instance, to an automobile salesman. Still haven't heard back from a lot of experts, and still just kind of intimidated by this data set. One British arms manufacturer compared his enterprise to that of a house furnishing company, which went so far as to encourage
About 1 to 3
matrimony
months, probably.
to stimulate.
I mean, probably because people that make these type of videos, like educational videos about history, I feel like it probably does take a month or probably like 3 months, because they had to like make the videos, get like the documents and evidence they can find on the internet, and then once they're done with it, they got to edit it. So it probably does take probably like a long time, but probably does take like a month or two to make these like type of videos, because you probably had to like deep search to find really like good like stuff for the videos.
More purchases of house furnishings. The arms maker felt that he too was justified in promoting his own particular brand of business. Hey Stephen, Happy New Year to you. I'm curious if you can help us crunch this data. Would love your thoughts, and we'll go from there. The arms industry is undeniably a menace to peace, but it is an industry to which
I turn the ads off. I don't know why it's giving you an ad, because on my screen it's not showing no ads running. So I don't know why it's giving you an ad. I don't know why they're giving you an ad. I don't know why. I don't know why. I literally turn off the ads. I literally turn off the ads.
Our present civilization clings, and for which it is responsible.
CIPRI is this organization that shows all of the weapons being transferred from every country to every other country. So here's ChatGPT's initial take on the data set. It's really disheartening how horrible it all looks at first. So these lines are telling me nothing, and you know that at some point it will get into a pretty place, but just not there, not even close.
First up, Hiram Maxim, world famous as the inventor of the wholesale killing machine, a type of machine gun. Maxim invented this gun that could fire 666 rounds per minute. That was very fast, and crucially, it didn't jam like most machine guns. With his amazing invention, Maxim takes his gun out on the road all over the world to try to pitch it to different governments. He's in South Africa and France and Switzerland and Italy and Germany. His gun-selling missionary efforts eventually take him to Russia, where he was almost thrown out for looking like a foreign Jew. Man, that's like kind of aggressive. But then eventually he was able to stay and show them his gun, but they were skeptical. They're like, no gun can shoot 666 rounds a minute. But and they were incredibly impressed. His fame became so great in Russia that the Tsar invited him to visit.
He invented a weapon that shoots that many bullets at the same time and it doesn't jam or nothing. This is probably like in the 1900s or 1800s. It has to be, just because that's crazy.
Visit him, which he did. He was also decorated with other Russian orders. The British eventually start using Maxim's gun in their big adventures in Africa. They were taking over modern-day Sudan and started using this gun against the locals who were fighting with swords. The British newspaper giddily reported that when the Maxim gun was turned on the Arabs, quote, a visible wave of death swept over the advancing hosts.
He probably made a lot of money from that. But they use this stuff in war, though.
In most of our wars, it has been
I'm pretty sure that's the one where, like, isn't that kind of like a sentry gun? Not like a sentry gun, but you send it and you shooting it like a bunch of times. I forgot what it's called, but I know that's what it is, what he invented. That's what it is, because every country has that. We have it, Russia has it, every country has that weapon right there.
The skill, the bravery of our officers and the men that has won the day. But in this case, the battle was won by a quiet, scientific gentleman living down in Kent. Yeah, this book is so good. War was changing, and Maxim was on the front lines of it, and he was making a ton of money in the process. China hears about the Maxim gun, and immediately...
Yeah, they kind of, it is like I forgot what's like, I don't know if that's really like the name of it, a sentry gun. But I know a lot of countries have that weapon that he made. A lot of them have it, and the lady have it, and they have it in Call of Duty too. Like, you have a sentry gun, or you can literally place it and you can shoot it like.
Immediately sends someone to go check it out. The Chinese representative gets to the UK, and the first words as he stepped off the ship on English soil were, "I should like to see Hiram Maxim." The Danes passed on the gun, the king himself saying that it would, quote, bankrupt my little kingdom in about 2 hours. But the king of Persia, the Shah, wanted some of these guns. So he asked the Prince of Wales to gift him some. And this is a key moment. The Prince of Wales says that he actually is not authorized to give the king of Persia any of these guns because they belong to Hiram Maxim's corporation. Pause here for a second. Do you see how this works back in the late 1800s and early 1900s? Governments couldn't sell weapons. It was the corporations that sold the weapons. They were the ones who were in charge. It was a free market of weapons. And the weapons kept flowing to everyone on Earth. And these guys kept on making a lot of money. Which gets us to our next character in the story, our next merchant of death. Basil Zaharoff, aka the super salesman of death, aka the mystery man of Europe, because he was, quote, a shadowy figure. This guy has an insane story, and someone should make a movie about him because his story is wild, but he was the super salesman of death. He went around Europe and around the world selling guns and submarines and all manner of weapons to anyone who would purchase them, including two sides of the same war. Like Greece and Turkey, which was the Ottoman Empire at the time, were definitely like arch rivals, and they would sort of break out into conflict at any moment. Zaharoff first goes to Greece and sells them some outdated submarines that the great powers didn't want to buy, and then goes right to Turkey and says, hey, Greece just bought a bunch of submarines, you need some too. And they buy some submarines. And then he goes to Russia and does the same thing. Hey, Greece and Turkey have these submarines, they're in the Black Sea, you probably need some. And indeed, Russia bought one because of that. And this guy's commissions go through the roof. It was rumored that Zakharov became one of the richest men on Earth because of the arms trade.
Luckily, I have very skilled map friends that are going to help me make this data look pretty, including Marcus.
Hey Johnny, this is a multi-level problem, so I'm going to try to break it down.
Who invented the mapping tool that we use called geolayers.
So I've transformed your data and I have imported it here. And right now we can create a data-driven style.
So you have all these international businessmen that were making lots of money off of this new demand for industrial weapons. The Krupp family and their steel, the DuPont family and their gunpowder, Remington making guns.
That is crazy. They're sending making weapons and stuff and they're selling it to other countries. Oh yeah, this country has this. Oh yeah, you need this.
And of
That's
course,
insane.
Alfred Nobel, the dynamite king, who did go on to repent for his sins by creating a peace prize in his name. Peace, brought to you by killing machines, the paradox at the heart of international relations, and the theme throughout this entire video. These men got richer and richer, the weapons got better and better, until one day, it all blew up.
Yo.
The number and variety of death machines had never been equaled. All of the sinister engines of war, invented and perfected in the previous half-century, were used in the fighting. And naturally enough, there was further development of these during the war itself. The machine gun was improved, artillery was motorized, and its range became longer. Sights and fire control apparatus became more scientific and more accurate. Many new implements of war were invented. The tank, a combined American and French invention, was first used by the British. Hand grenades were supplied in the trenches, and rifle grenades increased the range of these deadly missiles. The First World War took place between 1914 and 1918, and thanks to all these new deadly chemicals and weapons, it was easily the deadliest conflict that the world had ever seen. Tens of millions of people killed or wounded. It was after this war that the world woke up and realized that making weapons a free market to be sold to the highest bidder was probably a bad idea. And that's when this book came out in the 1930s. It was a part of a larger discussion and critique of the international arms trade. Some of these critiques went so far as to say that it was the arms makers themselves that exacerbated tensions.
That's crazy. Like what's going through their mind and make a gun to shoot a grenade. I don't know, bro. I mean, a lot of this stuff about the gun and grenade is like in like old Call of Duty games, like World War II. I like Call of Duty World War, Vanguard, like stuff like that. Like the old games are like about World War is in those type of games. I'm not sure on why they made a gun to shoot a grenade. It's the same thing how they made a flamethrower. Who made a flamethrower like that? A gas mask, like bro. A lot of the stuff that goes in the world that like we now really don't know or have been taught is kind of crazy for real. And the whole world has these type of weapons and can literally launch them at any time they want to. Any country in this world can literally, whatever they have, they can literally launch a bomb or whatever, and they can destroy a whole country. And that literally will start a World War III. Promise you right now. I don't know if it was then. Remember back in 2020, it was supposed to be World War III. It didn't happen. Now we might have a World War III because remember, Russia claimed the U.S. as an enemy. So we might go to World War III. If stuff happens, we might go to World War III. And then people might have to get drafted and then, you know what I'm saying, go fight in the front line. So, I mean, World War III is going to happen because history always repeats itself. So World War III is going to happen. World War II was back in what, in the 40s? You know what I'm saying? What? It wasn't around as how we fly a plane. You can never like fly left unless we're flying America. Yeah. It's just kind of
between
weird for
countries
real.
and caused the war, though most historians just say that the arms trade actually just exacerbated the violence by putting more weapons into the system. But then in the conclusion of this book, you have this kind of prophecy moment. The future may very well bring fiercer and more destructive wars and increased business for the arms makers. If war continues, it is not at all fantastic to predict that the arms merchants will grow increasingly important. Already, the stage of national affairs has been reached where the largest item on national budgets is for past and future wars. Already, war appears the greatest and most important activity of government. The economic consequences of this new nationalistic militarism will soon be apparent in the arms industry. This new nationalistic militarism. It was new back then. It's not new anymore. But this is where it started. So now it's time to fast forward and see how right they were. All right, this is for MJ. This is the pass off for you to make a beautiful map.
Okay, so Johnny just sent me over the directions for the next map. This one is a bit complicated. I think I finally have a good map update to show you.
Today, the United States is the global superpower and the country who exports more weapons than any other country, and by a long shot. And this is what we've been working to try to map. All this data hunting and trial and error is to try to see what this looks like. Today, private companies still make and sell the weapons, but unlike in the Merchants of Death era, weapons sales go through a government approval process, which means that weapons are no longer just a product that make money for businessmen. Instead, they are a currency that countries use to purchase influence. In this case, the United States being the top country. Thanks mostly to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, or SIPRI, we know where these weapons come from and where they go. This has been the bedrock of our data hunting, and I'm happy to say that after a fairly long process, we have mapped this. So, let me show you what it looks like when the global superpower uses weapons as a currency for influence around the globe. This map is pretty beautiful, and I'm really grateful for the team that helped me make it.
Bro, look at that. It's crazy how we buy like armor and guns and weapons and stuff like that from other countries. Yet we go like we I don't know, bro. I really feel like if a country doesn't like another country, why are they buying from that country? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man.
Team. And it's helpful for seeing one really important thing, which is the expanse of US arms trade. How far it goes, how wide it goes. The thicker the lines, the more weapons flow. But this map only shows us the first layer. In reporting this story, I've realized that there's a deeper way to understand this map. And it's going to take a little extra reporting, which is why there's going to be a part 2 of this video, which dives into the modern arms trade, what it looks like when the US sells weapons all over the world, and why they do it. The purpose of this video was to introduce you to the Merchants of Death so that they could teach us about how the business of war came to be and what happens when that business goes too far. Part 2 will be coming out really soon. And in part 2, we're going to talk to arms trade experts, as well as get some help from my new colleague, Sam Ellis, the creator of our new channel, Search Party, all with the hope of drilling deeper into this map to understand why the United States sells weapons to over 100 countries and what effect that has on conflict in this world. So stay tuned for our next video, which will be part 2 of the arms trade. And thanks for watching today.
That's it? Oh my gosh. That's it? Anyways, man, if you like the video, man, like, subscribe.